Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special program, Exploring New Directions, in the studio with artist and Air Force veteran Amy Bandel. Amy's a fantastic artist. Amy, I love your work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I've been very excited about presenting you. We feature an artist every month. And our next month, we have a nationally known local artist, Suzanne Furstenberg, who did the COVID white flags on the National Mall. She is going to be with us on Wednesday, December 8th, Wednesday at 7. So look for our mailings. If you haven't been getting our newsletter, I will put it in the chat about all of our other upcoming events. As you know, tomorrow's Veterans Day, and we will have our 13th annual Tribute to America's Veterans concert. And it is virtual. Everything we're doing now is virtual again, since we're not meeting outside. We're only doing outdoor in-person events, but now we're completely virtual again with the cold weather, although we've had great weather today.
It's beautiful.
And sorry, there's some sirens outside. So tomorrow's the Veterans Concert, which you can watch either on our Facebook page or join us through the Zoom. And all of our Zoom links are incorporated into all of our announcements and newsletters with a little orange bar specific to that event. And Amy is an Air Force veteran too, so we're proud to have a member of the service, a veteran who's also an artist. Next week on Thursday, November 19th, we have a holistic approach to creativity with TV producer, commercial drone pilot Mike Sabola with Mid-Atlantic Drones. So that's like something we've never presented before. Someone who does drone filming with a drone. And it should be a really fascinating talk. And also in keeping with our theme this month, which is a bird's eye view. Amy paints a lot of birds, by the way. We have a bird's eye view, wildlife through the lens of photographer Michael Oberman on Tuesday, November 30th, 7 p.m. on Zoom. And then for anyone along the creative spectrum, artists, filmmakers, poets, you're invited to join our creative circle on Friday, December 3rd with Neha Misra, who will be leading a creative circle exploring the sacred in our work. So I hope you can join us for that. All of our events are made possible with generous support from Montgomery County, United Therapeutics, the Arts and Humanities of Montgomery County, Maryland State Arts, and many others. And now let's get to the program. Amy Bandel, as I mentioned, is a wonderful artist. She graduated from the University of Maryland in Baltimore with degrees in visual arts and computer graphics and film and video. She's worked in a variety of creative fields, ranging from photography and computer graphics to PR. And she worked at Casements Cultural Center in Ormond, Florida, doing classes, festivals, shows in the art gallery. In order to take advantage of the educational benefits, she joined the Air National Guard as a weekender and served in units in Baltimore and Jacksonville, Florida, where she was trained in videography, photography, and PR. She eventually became a full-time active duty person at the Air National Guard headquarters at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. She served at the headquarters for 18 years in their Multimedia and Public Affairs office, 9 of which as a manager. And her active duty experience included computer graphics, print design, photography, video, live broadcasting, sculpture, and bronze casting, display design, and later teaching and journalism. Wow. And then after 26 years of service, she retired at the rank of Senior Master Sergeant. 5 years ago, she started creating in fine arts, starting with acrylic painting, since it was quick and fast, dried fast, and could withstand her busy household. She enjoys doing that very much and works in a variety of mediums now. Variety helps to keep her work fresh, and she's worked in oil, watercolor, gouache, encaustics, and mixed media, and also enjoys charcoal drawing, pastel, and other drawing mediums. Her work serves as a way to relax and escape, and the thread of beauty and calm run throughout many subjects such as landscapes, animals, people, and nature. Amy is a member of various local art councils and currently serving as president of the Sykesville Painting Club. And now let's get started with the program. Take it away, Amy.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for making time to be here tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and start my show. I am a bit technically challenged, so I will just take a minute.
And just to know, you're open to taking questions along the way and comments along the way?
Yeah, anybody can just ask questions along the way. You can just unmute yourself and ask. I've really loaded up this slideshow, and we don't have to get through it all. I just didn't want to run out of things. So, just if I'm going too fast or too slow, just let me know. I haven't done anything with a platform like this. So, it's just a discussion. Anyway, so let me share my screen and start this. Okay. So I was a veteran, and I thought I'd just give you a couple glimpses of where I started. This was from basic training, and that was in 1986, long time ago. And the stories are true. You clean a lot of bathrooms and wash a lot of pots in KP, but had a lot of fun. My friend Deborah Legros in the center is now Colonel Legros, so we did well. This is just kind of early on and mid-career, and then during my retirement at the bottom. I was privileged to have a total of 26 years in. I was a weekender, just one weekend a month for quite a while, and then I did get renewable active duty tours at the Air National Guard Readiness Center, which is part of the headquarters, and it was a good fit. So as a child, I always drew, and I always enjoyed art. I'm glad that I got to go to college and get my degree. I kind of felt a little more comfortable sticking with commercial art to make a living, and it's worked out well. I've had a rich and varied career. Once I got through school, I thought it would probably be good to kind of stick around the Guard for a while and get that extra retirement. So I was involved in a lot of things that were important. The Air National Guard has a state and a federal mission. So unless we're called up to active duty, each state is under the control of their governor. So, whenever there is a natural disaster or something like that, the people that you see in uniform are guardsmen and reserve. So I guess around 2016 or 17, I started finding I had more time to get back and work in the fine arts. I still have a busy household and lots of really bad animals. And so I went with acrylics because it's what I had. It was easy, not a lot of I didn't need a lot of equipment, and it dried really fast, and I could work really quick. I didn't always have a lot of time to sit down. I might only have a half hour to work on it. And then long drying times don't work real well if you have cats that like to knock things over, and mine do. So this is a lot of my work. It really stems from a lot of images and things that I get from the people that I've met along the way in my life. It's places that are important to me or to them. Obviously, I know a lot of people that take really good pictures. So this is from a photo from a friend and colleague, Jerry Bynum, and he worked in the Guard after he took my position after I left, and then after he retired, he went on to Hawaii. So this was down the street for him. And I thought it was beautiful. So the thing I like about acrylics is I know a lot of people struggle with them, the blending, the drying time, but I'm kind of an impatient person and I do work quickly. So that actually works for me. And so I don't mind doing a lot more layering as I paint, and I also can take advantage of a lot of glazing. So you can see examples of that here in this work in the water. There's, once I put a base color down, I was able to glaze in a lot of other colors to get a transparent water feel. And this also is an example of a lot of glazing. This a friend of mine, Laurie Davis, took this. He was fishing at the Bay Bridge. He didn't catch any fish, but he took a really nice picture. So this was one of the first things I worked on. I went up actually to Connecticut and took some classes up there with an area that I just liked a lot of the classes that they were offering. So, and this it was just a marsh painting, but it was just a really interesting use of layering and then scraping things back. I should have used oils. I didn't have that with me. So, but the acrylics seemed to work, and there's just a lot of movement going on in it. And I just like this one. This is my pig. This is from one of with the Sykesville Paint Club. Like I said, pre-pandemic, we offered quite a number of classes, and some of the more experienced painters would teach a variety of classes. This was taught by Jeannie Nichols, and it was just the use of color. And this is my friend Denise Dixon's pig. So my hairdresser also has a farm. So she has supplied me a lot of images for a lot of drawings and paintings. And so I like this particular pig. It was a lot of just coming and just working very quickly and not thinking about it and just doing. And I kind of like the riot of color. My son took this picture for me. I just happen to like it. It's just out in the woods somewhere. I like the use. I like getting to familiar enough with a medium to kind of see what it does on its own. There's a balance between controlling the paint, doing everything yourself, and then just kind of seeing what the paint will do for you. In this case, just putting the random colors on the brush and seeing how it applies gives you a lot more spontaneous variety than you can do if you paint everything in, all your details yourself. I do a lot of plein air painting in the Sykesville Paint Club. We go paint outside, and this was on a cool day. We've been trying to experiment on how much cold we can tolerate. So this wasn't too bad. Anyway, but this is on River Road in Sykesville, and I kind of like this one a lot. I just like the water. I like the tree, roots of the tree. And this is at Morgan Run. Morgan Trails, and it's in Carroll County. And this was a very cold day. It was snowing, and a friend of mine, Mary, and I went painting, and we could only tolerate it for about an hour and a half, but I got 2 quick paintings out. It was very spontaneous, obviously, because it was so cold. And this is acrylic, and it did pretty good in the cold weather. In hot weather, it tends to dry too fast, but I like this one. I like the movement. I like the abstraction. And I actually reused an old canvas and just painted a solid undercoating on it before starting this. And I really like how the brush strokes underneath kind of just add to the texture of this particular painting. This I did for my cousin Terry, and it is my uncle, her father's childhood home in Virginia or West Virginia. I really like the trees. I like how the house turned out. I do a lot of landscapes, and I liked how this one came out, and I'm glad it's something that the family can enjoy. I also early on did a lot of oil. When I started learning again, I had really only had a few fine art classes, and I just didn't have any expectations for myself. I decided that I would just start from scratch and pretend I didn't know anything, because, frankly, I didn't remember a whole lot after, and just the gaps from not painting for so long. I painted a lot in college. I painted a little bit up until I had kids, and then, it was just, we just had too much going on. But I like to try to balance working loose and spontaneous with working more structured and detailed. For me, that kind of helps me. One, I'm not naturally loose and spontaneous. So I think spending time doing that helps to keep a more structured work a little bit better. It looks a little more freer. It doesn't look, you can get too tight in how you're painting, and it just doesn't come out as well. So this was from an exercise that I did in one of the classes where we only had a few minutes to paint something, and this is an abstract in oils from Slack Road in Carroll County. This is a abstracted beach. This also stemmed from a really horrible painting that I painted over top of, but this is from Lewis Beach, Delaware. This I did a lot with just, I guess, kind of like a palette knife, but we just use small pieces of mat board to just streak the paint across. Just using things other than brushes, rolled up paper towels, sponges, different tools, different knives can really give you some different patterns in what you're doing. This is a piece of Shenandoah. This is from a photo from my friend Gina. She likes to camp. I don't, so she gets better pictures than I do she's willing to stay out longer than me. So anyway, so this is from Shenandoah, and I struggled with how to get the field and the flowers, and I ended up getting a better result with just a wadded up paper towel and dabbing the paint on in a lot of the areas to get that. But I like this one. This is just another painting. This is actually a field in the snow up in Pennsylvania. Another photo from Gina. But what I found interesting about this one, once I painted it, it was just kind of a test, because some people just saw it as the beach, and some people saw it as snow. So that was kind of interesting to just see how people saw how it came out. And I ended up selling it, and it was to someone that it just reminded them a lot of the beach and an important place to them. And so it was interesting.
What was your intention? Was it?
It is the snow. It's a field with snow.
It It looks like sand to
And
me, but
dunes.
I grew up in San Diego.
Yeah, yeah. So you know what? And it's whatever makes you happy. Yes.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
my intent and what you see, and that's all fine. This I was studying with Molly Sims, and she's a fantastic wildlife painter. She was a member of our club and taught, and now she is living in Washington State. So she taught how to paint animals. This is my best friend's dog, Dakota. And we took these. I went to see her in Rhode Island on the beach, and the dogs just kind of went hog wild out there and had a great day. And this is one of our photos from that day. And this I painted for my father. He has a family of cardinals that live at his house in Florida. And this is Reginald, and he's the patriarch of the family. He eventually just kind of brought his whole family to live there. And I drew one of his grandsons later on. So, but this is Reggie. And this I painted for my husband. It's just a photo of out in the Midwest somewhere that he enjoyed. I started taking watercolor at the advice of another artist, Mark Heil, who teaches, and his assistant, and they really encouraged me to take one of their watercolor classes. And I have to tell you that I absolutely detest watercolor, and I have not been able to watercolor for 50 years. So I begrudgingly took their class, and I was able to, it was just a good match for me with Mark, and I really picked up watercolor from him. And this was a still life, which I also insisted that I didn't want to come because I hate still life. So, but anyway, I had a good time doing this. It was called Vegetables and Beets. And I got distracted because I haven't been looking at the chat, sorry. So I'm just looking here to see if there's any questions. No, but not lots of nice comments, thank you. Yeah, I like this one a lot. I learned a lot from Mark. Just watercolor to me was really learning how to balance control, because you need a lot of control in watercolor, and you also need an equal balance of just letting go and letting watercolor do its thing and basically do the work for you. You know, you can do a nice wash and throw a variety of colors in there, and then it just kind of creates a leaf for you, like you see here. Balance of hard and soft edges, concentrating on just painting shapes and not, yeah, you know, I didn't paint a beet or paint a pepper. I just really concentrated on painting the shapes that I saw, and the final product came out much better. I also learned to really try to incorporate, you know, several colors in any area that I'm going to paint in, just to really add, you know, visual texture and variety, because, you know, that's the way life is. When you look at an onion, it's not just, you know, an ochre color. It's, you know, it's reds and browns and white and green and all these colors. And it's really important to remember to bring all those colors into each individual section that you're working on in a painting. And this isn't going forward. Hang on a minute. This I painted plein air. This is in Frederick, in downtown Old Town Frederick, and it was just a flower box outside of a beauty shop. But I really liked it. And this is Ellicott City. I've painted there a number of times. And hang on, I'm reading a question. Love this type of still life versus portraits and landscape. Isn't everything still life? I guess it is. I guess it's still life, unless you're trying to paint something that moves. Okay, again, this is a flower barn in Ellicott City, and I had a good time painting here. I was encouraged to play hooky from work and go paint, and I did for one of their 3-day plein air sessions. And so I met Stephanie and Teresa at the Flower Barn, and I've known them, sipped and kept in touch. Before the pandemic, we started teaching. They have a beautiful little courtyard, and we started having some paint classes out there, and it was lovely. And hopefully we'll be able to do that again, maybe next summer when things open up a little bit better. This I painted at Longwood Gardens. I go and I stay off season at Ocean City a lot because there's no people there and I like it better. So, and I really love Assateague off season. I thought I would really be drawn to the beach, and then the marsh gets me, all the color and everything going on in the marsh. So I started a series of marsh paintings and I really like them. And I was painting up to the point where I had confidence to put a horse in there, and I stopped, but I have to get back to that. I have a lot of pictures of the horses. So. This was one of the first watercolors I did, like after going to, several watercolor sessions with Mark. I kind of like put all the lessons together, and my happy place is Maine. And so I worked a while on this one. It's still one of my favorites, but this is just the Maine coast. And that's a special place for my family.
That was so funny because I was just about to start typing and saying, this reminds me of Acadia National Park.
It is. Yeah.
It is?
Yeah, it is. It's Acadia.
We were just, I
know, you were just
at the end
there.
of September, and I thought, oh, I just have it on the brain, and it can't be
believe me,
there.
I was envious, yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I love me. I have actually like a whole series because I don't travel a whole lot right now, just some family issues, but my neighbor does. And so she goes and she stays, they have like a fish camp up above Bangor, Maine. Her boyfriend has property, and they go stay for weeks, and she takes pictures the whole time and sends them to me. And so like, I'll have this whole series painted by the time she comes home. So.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So, love Maine. And then this I painted for an old supervisor that retired, Marianne. This is her family's property in the fall in Pennsylvania. Whoops. And then this is just another, I think it's funny, like you'll be in a class and you'll spend like all this time on a piece, and then there'll be like 20 minutes left, and you're okay, I'm just going to do this really quick. And then that's the one that comes out better. And this particular day, this is the one that, was just maybe a 15-20 minute, and it's been a more popular painting. So I got involved in encaustic. Again, one of the weekends that I was playing hooky and painting in Ellicott City. I started taking a little bit of encaustic around here, and a mutual acquaintance told me, you got to take a class with Marcy Wolf Hubbard. You got to take a class with her. And so I just am so happy that I played hooky from work and went painting and had that conversation, because I have been studying with Marcy for, I guess, about 2 years now. I got to take a few encaustic classes with her before everything shut down. This is before I started working with her. This is just an ocean scene. I was drawn to, you'll see a lot of encaustic work that has, waves and that sort of look.
Right, I do waves. I was going to say, someone is asking, Michelle is asking, what is encaustic?
Encaustic is using pigmented wax, and encaustic is a lot like mixed media in the fact that there is just such an incredibly wide range of things that you can do with encaustic. If you look for encaustic online, if you Google it or Pinterest it, you will see this incredible range of different types of things you can do with the wax. Because in this case, I was just moving around colored wax with a heated gun and melting it on the board and making the patterns that I wanted. But it's certainly, that's the basics. And then you can use
Yeah.
it a lot with mixed medium. This is layered with, this is just layers and layers and layers of wax. And what you do is you put a layer of wax down, and then you can paint on it or affix something to it. Or in this case, I used a lot with photo transfer. And the other images are actually torn bits of these printed napkins. You peel them back so you have the very thinnest layer. And, you know, it just obviously when you put it on the warm wax, it just sucks right in. And then to seal it, you would layer it with another layer of clear wax, and you have to heat each layer so that it bonds. So with the elephant, this is called Friends. So there's fish friends and elephant friends and bubbles, and it's just a lot of fun. The picture is a photo transfer. If you make a copy, not your inkjet printer at home, but like at work, like you have like the drum kind of a copier. If you can make a copy of an image on that powder ink, you can put it on the wax and burnish it down, and you know it transfers the image. And that was how I did this here with the elephant.
How did you do the coral? Is that a gel?
That is a napkin.
Oh,
It's
that's the
ripped
napkin.
up piece of napkin. Yep. So yeah,
But
I
there's
didn't actually
texture.
draw any part of this one. So I did this in a class, and it was learning how to layer things, and it was to learn how to do the photo transfer specifically. And then I felt that this particular instructor in Frederick, and I don't remember her name, she had this wonderful collection of really nice napkins with all kinds of images and things like that. And I kind of fell in love with that. I also have quite a collection of napkins at home.
But this is encaustic?
It's encaustic.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's encaustic. And what we did is on the board, before we started, it was a white media board, and I actually put some watercolor down in the background. And then you'll do a base layer of about 3 separate layers of a clear wax. And then you can start building from there. You can use tinted wax to paint, which is similar to how I did with the waves prior. Or in this case, I just layered imagery because that was the focus for that particular class. I layered different pieces of images that I found in these napkins that I liked, or you can put whatever kind of fine things that you find in there. Not so much like you wouldn't want to put like actual, like you wouldn't want to put like leaves or something like that that would like disintegrate. You wouldn't want to put that in there. But yeah, it's just, that's just photo. Let me look at these real quick.
Wow.
It's so much fun in caustic. So much fun.
It is. It is.
Is that Roberta?
Yeah, it's Roberta.
Hi.
Yeah.
We've
Hi.
taken encaustic classes with Marcy together.
Yeah, we have.
Smithsonian. Maybe Glen Echo too. Yeah, it is, but I have no control over it. And I like to blow my image with the heat gun. Marcy always kind of laughs. But it makes neat swirls. Like if you want to make whether it's an ocean or like maybe a outer space kind of image.
Yes. Outer space
Yeah.
has been suggested to me. By one of my friends, I gave the friend one to the friend. Yeah, she was like, and she was thinking of these different themes, and she thought outer space would be a great.
And you can also carve into it. Like I made birch trees and carved the white of the birch into the.
Exactly. It's just
Yeah.
the sky's the limit. So this is Nest. This is when I started studying with Marcy, and so I just built upon the other skills I had in that class, and then the new skills that Marcy encourages. And she is by far the most knowledgeable instructor that I've encountered. I mean, she just really truly has a master of all the different techniques that you can use in encaustics, and will teach you the proper way to do them. So this really has everything in it. I had, again, my love of torn up napkins, and I incorporated some lace in there. There's some chunks of lace. And then and then I have all of this. I come from a creative family. my husband's side of the family is very creative, and I have just been a recipient of all kinds of oil paints and fabric and doodads and trims and everything. And so they're in my work because that's just what I have loads of. So my mother-in-law had these fibers, and I put the fibers in to extend the nest image. I thought it made a really interesting texture and color. And then I just started painting with the wax. And to do that, like you'll have a griddle, and you get, I don't know, huge looking crayons of all the different colors, but it's not a crayon, it's fancy wax. And so you just melt the colors onto the griddle, and you can mix the colors and just like paint. Obviously it's gonna dry real fast for you, so you have to work quick, but I have adopted, my painting textures carries through. So I like this, and it fit into your all's bird themes. I did another one that was fish theme. I like the bird one better, but again, I really like all the texture, and that's, I painted a little bit in there, and I did paint the coral in this one, Lisa. So, but I put some different fibers. I had some different papers that had a heavier texture, put that in the background. Again, use the napkins, and then just affixed the actual shells and things to the bottom. This was actually from the first class with Marcy, and I really didn't know what I was doing. So I sat down, just started painting. Again, another beautiful landscape from Gina. And I just had a lot of fun doing it. And this is something I don't know what the other artists on this can relate to or not. But the one thing I was thinking about when I was putting all these things together was how, there's different basic design approaches and techniques and stuff like that, blocking in main areas of color and then working from that to do your painting. Like on this one, you can see where the first thing I put on was this light blue in the sky. And then I put almost a black at the bottom. I just put two big shapes down, and then everything else was brought out from that. Now, you should do this. It's a widely taught technique to paint, but I actually struggled with it in other mediums, which I thought was interesting, that I just kind of intuitively did it with this. And that's what I find with doing all these different mediums, how some things come easier to me using one thing than other, and I don't really understand why that's so. But it also helps me. I'll learn one thing will come pretty easily for me in one medium, and therefore I will be like, you know how to do this. You do it in encaustics. Just do it when you use oil. And so sometimes it makes it a little bit easier for me to learn something in one media and then translate it over to another. And then this is just the companion piece to that. This I loved. There was an encaustic weekend with Leah McDonald and Marcy this summer in Philadelphia, and it was fantastic. And so I was trying to work a little bit more. I have all this figure drawing from working with Marcy, and we had a live model for a half of one day, and I just wanted to try to work a little bit more with working with the figure. And this was funny because this whole piece came from a mistake. I was affixing some paper. When I glued the paper down to the board I was using, the glue made all these wrinkles. And there was nothing I could do with it. I couldn't get it out. So I was like, okay, it's going to be a water piece. So I used the ripples that were in the glue to, help me paint in with, I used Caran d'Ache crayon with this paint. My fish are again from a napkin, and you can see how the napkin piece just sucks right into the layer of the wax. So it really shows how transparent using that is. And and charcoal. So, and it was, we had a wonderful model that weekend and wonderful instruction between both teachers. It was really a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, that's great. I heard about that. Marcy invited me too, but I'm not good enough.
Had some beginners there. So next time. think
Yeah,
about it.
but yeah, encaustic lends itself so well to texture.
Yeah. So if you like mixed media, it definitely, it's just, you're adding another thing in with the wax. So,
Right.
so I all along this journey, I know that you just get told over and over again, the stronger your drawing skills are, the better you're going to be at anything else that you do. And I just was so enamored with color that I just would never stop and work on my drawing skills. I just couldn't make myself do it. Plus, again, I'm impatient. So I just cannot sit there with a pencil and draw. But with the pandemic hitting, I, was trying different things and trying to support art friends and things like that. So I took one of Marcy's first classes online that she offered with charcoal drawing. And I remembered that I did a lot of charcoal drawing in college, and I like it because, you're using this whole big chunk of charcoal, and the charcoal does what I like. The charcoal just has a mind of its own and will create all these textures and things for you if you kind of just balance out how you work with it and let it do its thing. So here are two, okay, and I've got a zillion pictures of animals because we found, I take private drawing lessons with Marcy and Helen Silvitz on Monday. And we've just been doing it since, I don't know, spring of 2020. And it's just been such a really nice experience. Everybody has gotten stressed out at different points during this pandemic, whatever your situation is. And I had that time carved out to draw, and we either didn't talk about any of this business at all, or if one of us was having a hard day, we could talk about it and draw. And it's just been just a wonderful thing. And I'm just so happy that those were my friendships I've made during the pandemic. We tried drawing a lot of different subjects. We've done landscapes. We do a lot of figure drawing. We were doing, I think what I liked the least was household objects. I don't gravitate to them. I don't do a lot of buildings either. But we really loved animals. I don't know what it is. It releases some kind of endorphin when you draw animals. And so most of our stuff has been animals, and I just really couldn't pick. So I won't leave them all up 5 minutes at a time, but I put them all out here. So, because you can't see these animals without smiling. But this is two different techniques of the same cat. This is Bentley, my niece's cat. And he's this big gray cat, and he just looks like a blob of velvet. This one, I just stopped where I was because I just kind of really liked the fact that he was fading away. And then I like this one, I was really trying to work more on that sunbeam hitting him. There's my raccoon. I know. There's my sheep. My husband likes this sheep. It's so funny because I drew this very masculine ram for him. You know what? He likes the goofy sheep. So
he is cute.
Yeah. That's
Oh, that
my
one's
shy
cute.
sheep.
I'm a sheep in Chinese astrology.
Oh, okay. I'm a horse. in
I love
Yeah.
the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fire goat or fire sheep.
This is another sheep. This is my
Aw.
absolute favorite sheep because in person, this sheep just looks like velvet on the nose. It's like a diva sheep. I just really like this one. So
It's a
out of all
diva
the-
sheep.
Yeah, out of all the sheep, this was, she is maxing out there with her clothes. I like her.
You can definitely tell you're an animal lover through your work.
Yeah. Yeah. And then this is the masculine ram that I drew for my
Wow.
husband. He still likes it, but he really likes that silly sheep looking in the side of the page.
Us Rams, we have attitude.
Yeah, yes. And there's the squirrels. I had no idea Helen does not like squirrels, so we will never be drawing squirrels again, but she was a trooper.
Oh, he's cute though.
Yeah, I like this squirrel. They're funny. And here's my pig again, Denise
Aw.
Dixon's farm.
Oh,
I think this is, there's two of them, Buzz and Lightyear. I don't remember. I think this is Buzz. I have no idea.
oh,
Her
how
daughter is so
cute.
talented in 4-H and raises these animals. She wins everything, and she's gone to national national things to judge, and she's gonna have her own farm one day.
Oh,
I do a lot of dogs. This is my niece's. She was caring for this dog Martini, and she wanted me to draw Martini for her. Just to show you, I can draw some stuff other than animals. So this is again Maine. This is
Yeah.
Castine, Maine. My son went to look at going to school there, and I went and took pictures while he looked at the college.
look at the
So.
Maine. Look at the Maine.
Pardon?
Oh, sorry, telling my boyfriend to look at the Maine photos.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sorry, I was unmuted because we were just in Maine.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I was so jealous. This is another. This is Ohio. I know it's crazy, but I like Ohio. I have really good friends in Toledo, and it's a really fun place. This didn't pick up as much detail in it, but this is on Marblehead by the lighthouse, and it's lovely. So I can draw hands too. So this is some of our figure drawing. This is Stephanie. This is a drawing from the modeling that we had over the summer at the encaustic class. I decided to try gouache, and I have been fighting with it for over a year. It was just a terrible learning curve. And I think I'm doing better. This is Virginia Beach. This is Vivian Davis took this picture. She was the former president of the Sykesville Painting Club. So, and this is just on black mat board. This is Debbie went to Maine this summer. So
That's
this
really
is-
nice.
This is in Maine.
This is spectacular.
Yeah. This is also from her trip to Maine. So
That's
I have
pretty
several
too.
more. Yeah. Again, I've been doing a lot with, we've been doing a lot of flowers, which I didn't enjoy at first. I guess it was like so much foliage was overwhelming to me. I just had a hard time drawing it, but we've been doing a lot of plants and flowers lately, and the backgrounds to the birds. And so I've been using a lot of gouache and Caran d'Ache crayon. And so this is on a friend of Marcy's porch, I think. This I painted while I was in Toledo. I called in and had a lesson with Marcy, and we painted this ibis.
Really nice.
Thank you. Yes, my friend kept it. It stayed in Ohio.
And I suspect we have some bird lovers on this call.
Yeah, hopefully we've done a lot of birds. We've done a lot of birds.
Right.
Now this is when I was trying to, fight with gouache. I did this. I just painted in gouache the encaustic. So it was just kind of interesting to me. So I just included that.
So you do it first in your notebook?
No,
Or-
I did the encaustic first, like a couple years ago. And then this summer, when I was trying to, I really, really struggled with gouache. I had trouble getting it to blend. It dries fast. I know that it photographs really well because it's flat, but I have trouble with the flatness. I always feel like my stuff looks like kid drawings or something. So I'm doing better, but I probably had one of the most difficult times learning it. If it was anything else, I probably would have put it aside, but I just kept it was personal. I just felt like I should be able to do something with gouache, so achieve some level of functionality with it. But that's
Someone
just
is asking. Oh, go ahead. Someone is asking what gouache is.
gouache is, it's like a thicker opaque watercolor. You use a lot of white paint with it, and it's comparing to watercolor is thinner. You can work real thin in gouache and thin it out. So it's just a water suspension like a watercolor, but it is more opaque. It is thicker. you can, so there's you can build it up like, you know, like with watercolor, watercolor is like such a puzzle. Like you have to stop and plan out anything you do with it because you have to preserve your white spaces. You can kind of go back and put white in, but really once you've lost a really light area, you kind of lost it with the transparency that watercolor has. But with gouache, it's much thicker, and so you can build it up and build up the layers, so you can work from dark to light instead of light to dark, which is how you work in watercolor most times.
So as a way of for people to associate with gouache, famous painters who've used gouache include Salvador Dali, Matisse, who I was thinking of, and Chagall, Edgar Degas also.
And honestly, in all honestly, the feeling of this paint can be a lot like just the tempera colors that you used in school. So if that, you know, gives you an idea of the consistency. There are two types of gouache. This is just pigments. So like if it dries and you come back and get it wet again, you can kind of pull it up and keep working with it. It will pull into whatever color that you layer on top. You got to be careful. There is also an acrylic gouache that has like a little bit of acrylic in it, and that just dries flat and it's done, and you kind of just have to work in layers the way you would with acrylic paint. You know, once it's done, it's not like oils where you can keep on blending or, you know, stuff like that. So it's a little bit about gouache. It was developed a lot to use in advertising because it was like, you know, back before computer graphics, so you had to paint everything, and it did have a very flat consistency or the final look to it, and it made it very easy to photograph for, you know, any kind of reproduction. And so I also started working in mixed media. The first time I tried it with Marcy last year, I don't know why, because it's just kind of like encaustic, just minus the wax, but I just really couldn't get my head around all the different layers, and I couldn't even figure out how to just do a background. So I had to leave it go a bit, but I've been trying it again, and it's been a lot of fun. I have discovered Caran d'Ache crayons that are very, you know, they're much better than Crayola. They're a very high quality crayon, and you can get them water soluble, so you can, you know, draw all you want with the crayon. You can bring some water into it, which is what I did in the background here. And what I like about it is it gives a very watercolor look in the background, but it retains some of the texture from my drawing. So this particular mixed media piece, we did birds that day, a bunting, and again, you see I have tons of fabric. So, you know, I found this fabric kind of lent itself to the tree bark and the leaves. I found a little bit of fabric that I could put into the bird to add texture to the wings, and some of the fabric is quite thin and transparent and kind of blends into the background to add some kind of leaf texture there. Just see. We did another bird another time. I can't tell you what type of bird this is, and you know, it wasn't my favorite bird in the world, but I felt like it kind of lent itself to the other buntings, so I wanted to save it and go back to it and try to, you know, again do a kind of a companion piece to it. I did more with cutting out phrases from books that would be interesting if you walked up close enough to read it. So those are the branches. It's a Caran d'Ache crayon, and I think there's some gouache in there. And again, the different fabric, I added some sequins to it. And then I have enough work now that I have like stacks of old work that I can go back to and cut parts out of maybe I only liked a portion of a painting that I did. So I like the leaves of a painting, but the bird it was a fat head. It was not a success. It was a very big-headed bird. So, just to, experiment a little bit, I cut the leaves out from the unsuccessful piece and added them to this. So I've been like I said, I've been having fun at, trying to reattack, taking the mixed media classes now that I just have had some time to practice with all these different things over the year and a half, that it's been enjoyable. This I did last night. I had previously just affixed some newspaper down, and we were just doing painting some vases of flowers.
It's pretty.
And I think that is it. So that's all I have. You guys, like, wow, you got through like, I don't know, 60, 70 slides. Yay.
Yeah, you went at a good tempo, but we still have time for questions if we want to maybe stop sharing.
Yeah.
Or you might want to refer back if somebody wants to pull it back. You can pull it back up, I guess.
Yeah, I can pull it back up again, but yeah, I'll stop sharing for now. So
you had a lot of comments in the chat saying they loved all your work. So,
thank you.
and so who has a question or comment for Amy?
So this is Kimberly. I have a question.
Hey, Kim. Kim was one of our featured artists.
In August.
August.
And she helped me
weren't you in-
prepare for this. Yes, thank you, Kim.
Oh, great. Kim's a great artist too.
Thanks. So the question I have is, I know you've tried a number of different mediums. Do you find yourself like progressing through the mediums, or do you go back and forth?
I kind of cycle around because I found that I have great respect for people that just stick to one or two mediums, and even like certain subject matters, and that's it. That's all they do. I mean, they become perfectionists at it, and I have a lot of respect for that. My attention span, I can't do it, and so I'll maybe paint for quite a while in a certain medium, and then I burn out, because I was really happy with my watercolors, but I hit the point last summer where they were not up to my normal, I was just like, and so I that's why I just tried some different stuff, and I'll go back and forth, and case in point, I mean, the one thing I do really like about being at least familiar with and functional in a lot of different mediums is because the situation that I'm painting in, or the subject matter, if somebody wants to, I'm working on a dog painting for my best friend, I will do that in oils, because that is the best way that I know to get that painting texture for that fur, so I can go back and forth. If I want to do something that's going to need a lot of glazing, I know I can do it in oils, but impatient, cat could ruin it. I'm going back to acrylics, so I can move around and take breaks and go back. And some of the nice things about going back, if I haven't used something in a while, is what did I learn from all these other things, and how did it translate back to acrylics or oils? So I find that process, exciting. And, doing plein air, I have to look at, now we painted a few weeks ago, and it was cold and it was windy and it was hilly. We were out at Linganore, Frederick County. So, we really, I found a little place by a building that provided some shelter, but, I may not be able to use my tripod. Stuff's going to blow off, so I kind of roll with two different setups so that I can just kind of hold something smaller in my lap if it's too windy. And the same thing with the paint. A lot of people don't paint with acrylic in plein air. I'm impatient, so I do, but I don't do it in the middle of summer because it's just going to immediately dry up. I'm just constantly going to be spraying it with water. So, I can use, if I'm trying to run away from my household before anyone needs me to do something else, I have like a real quick grab bag of either gouache or watercolor, because it's just, I can travel light. We went to the balloon festival in Carroll County, I had to park a gazillion miles away and carry all my crap in oils was not happening. So, I had, so I have to look at the situation I'm going to go paint in and kind of project. I usually have about 2 different setups in my car, but, I need the different equipment and different mediums because it just lends itself to whatever situation I find myself painting in.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much, Amy.
That's great. Who
Oh,
else has a question?
I do.
Okay, who's talking?
Michelle, I have a question.
Okay, who is it?
It's Michelle.
Oh, hi, Michelle.
Oh, Michelle. Okay,
Okay.
great.
Hi. Amy, I really love those watercolors. I'm not sure if you, did you say you were in acetique when you did those, or was it Chincoteague?
Acetique.
It was acetique. Okay.
Yeah, I have been invited down to the other, I haven't made it down there yet, pandemic and such, but yeah.
But I love,
you can lie. I have, you can just tell them anywhere. It's a marsh. So.
anyway, I really liked your watercolors of the ocean there. It was just, or the river. I don't know where,
That was, I did a lot. Well, I had ocean stuff in there, but the marsh ones, that was, when you go to acetique, there's the ocean on the one side,
Mhm.
and then all the marsh and intercoastal is
Stuff. You're right.
and that's, I have a gazillion photos of that because I just find it. I have done the ocean paintings too, but it's just the beach and just the ocean. And I get over in the marsh and there's like dead trees and all different color, plants and just all the waterways, the puzzle pieces that it's through, and then the horses that I'm not brave enough to paint yet. So it's just so much to paint. And
You did good on your horse. No, but I really, I liked the watercolors.
Thank you.
I thought they were great. I especially like the marsh ones. I was very interested in those particular paintings, the watercolors. But gouache is, it's the opposite of watercolor, but it is great. It is a great medium to work in. But actually it's changed a lot. Like Andy Warhol used to, is that right? No, was it? Yeah, it was Andy. Andy Warhol used to work in, because, back in the 50s, when they did use, instead of using watercolor, they used gouache whenever they did their advertising work. And if you go to his museum, he's got a huge amount of pieces that he did for advertising that are just, they're really fantastic, and they're all in gouache.
I'll have to go back and look because, I'm on, one of these Facebook groups with gouache, and, I can bang some stuff out. It's getting a little bit better. I actually, it lends itself to playing, and playing is really important. So
yes,
enjoying doing that. But, I will see these things where people, it looks like the old masters in oil, and it's gouache. And I'm like, how in the world did they blend this? I don't have that skill yet. So.
Yeah. It is I totally agree. It is a difficult medium to master. And the old the Impressionists did use it a lot, but then it went completely out of fashion.
Mhm.
And they even changed, like the gouache that we have today is different from the gouache back, when the Impressionists were using it.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed that, there's there's the gouache and the acrylic gouache, and there's the Casements, which I think, again, it's got like more of a binding thing, like acrylic in it, where it doesn't pick back up. Yeah, it's just this whole different world. So it's very interesting. I've been watching a lot of tutorials from James Gurney of the Dinotopia books. And he's fantastic. And he, they're all short, but he'll go and go through how to do different techniques and landscapes and leaves or dappled sun and stuff. And he uses a combination of watercolor gouache and watercolor pencil. And
Oh, interesting.
yeah, look for him on YouTube. They're fantastic.
What is his name again?
James Gurney. If you forget, look up Dinotopia, but it's James Gurney, Gueney. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You can find them.
All right.
They're
No, because
fantastic.
Really, my son-in-law and daughter-in-law were just in Chicago, and my son-in-law took this incredible photograph that I really want to make into a painting, but I'm just feeling so inadequate as an artist. Right
You may
now.
find, he breaks down everything in little chunks, and I've learned so much just, watching things just on the side, and they're all just, 8 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I've really
Thank
learned a
you.
lot how to mix, how to mix those three.
Yeah, because
mediums.
looking at your work, I was saying to myself, gee, maybe I love to work in oil because I'm very slow. I'm one of these slow painters.
Mhm.
So I need the paint not to dry fast.
Exactly.
But I really feel like maybe mixing mediums might achieve what I want.
Yes, I have found that, and getting back to what Kim was saying about, going back, because it was really helpful for me to look through. I didn't realize, I got kids and animals and a husband and jobs and all this stuff. So, I always feel like, oh, I didn't paint much. And then we're doing a show at the library. We show at the Eldersburg Library 3 times a year. So I'm always like framing stuff up in case we're short. And I'm like, oh, I have 15 things here. So, but I went back and looked at some of my watercolors, and they just, they're fine, but they didn't look completely finished. I didn't include them. But now when I went back and looked at them, I'm like, you know what, for that old barn out in Maine, if I went back in with Caran d'Ache or a watercolor soluble pencil, and I could get a little more detail on the wood or the,
Mhm.
it would just, and bring that out.
would
So that's
just
what
pop.
I've been having fun with, is just going back to this old work that I, thought sucked, and I can breathe new life in it now. So that's been good. But yeah, a blending of several different things like that has very much added, more sophistication to my work.
That is, I would love to talk to you more about this
Of course.
later, maybe.
Yeah, I jotted down your number, and yeah, that
Okay.
fine. And
that
I'm also, I didn't make a slide. I'm on Facebook. I have Amy Bandel Art, or as I get to know you more in the community, it just Amy Gregory Bandel. But yeah, if you go to Amy Bandel Art, I have a Instagram and a Facebook page. That is the one piece that I did not touch on yet, was that the art community, as I was getting back involved in this, just how important and enriching just making not just painting your house with tutorials, but just the art community, and joining some clubs and meeting people and taking the classes. It's just been phenomenal, and added to my growth. I never could have accomplished what I've accomplished in the past 5 years without knowing all these different people that I've met. Anything I need to know how to do, I can ask around. Somebody knows how to do it. So that's been just a huge thing. So a big shout out to the Sykesville Paint Club. That's my tribe.
I feel bad that I don't know this. Where is Sykesville?
It is right at the bottom of Carroll County. So I don't know where you live, but I live above Lisa and Marcy. I live up in Western Howard County. And so the Sykesville Painting Club, like if you know where Route 70 is, Sykesville and Eldersburg is just right above Route 70 up into Carroll County. And that's kind of the area that most of our club is from. But we've got people from Baltimore and everywhere else driving.
I live in BDSS. Beautiful downtown Silver Spring.
Yes, there are 2 people in the world, those who live in Silver Spring and those who wish they lived in Silver Spring.
It is very nice there. I gotta say, I really like it there. Anytime we go down.
Michelle
So,
lives in the most beautiful neighborhood of Silver Spring also.
It's great because it's a 2-minute walk from downtown Silver Spring.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I noticed when I'm down there. It's just, there's the park and the downtown, and then like Marcy just lives in this normal neighborhood. If you just go out on your street, you don't think you're like downtown. It's great. But should you want to go to the wilds, to plein air, you just hop on 97 and drive 30 minutes and there's
Wait,
my house.
nine- see, I don't know, well, anyway, I'm not good. I thank God I have that thing on my phone, because otherwise I would be in
The GPS,
constantly lost. Okay, so you live in that area in Carroll County.
I live just underneath. I live in Howard County.
Oh, you live in, okay,
Yeah,
think I
that
know
just,
where
but
that
you know, there's like 10 miles from me. That's the closest painting group I could find, and fortunately I got along with them all, or they tolerated me. They put up with me.
well, please do contact me.
I will.
Thank you. Okay, I think I've taken up enough time.
Oh, well, I kind of like barged in for a second and put into stuff about the art community. That was part of my presentation.
Yeah, that's great, though. That's great. No, I will check it out. And also, what did you say? I'm sorry, the online, the YouTube thing that you told, Gurney?
James Gurney. If you
James
forget,
Gurney.
just Google Dianatopia and
Okay.
it will come up. You will find him.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
All
James.
right, we have time for a couple more questions, if anybody would like to jump in. While you're thinking about that, I also have a question for Amy, since I work in encaustic, although I don't practice enough. I also do what you do with the swirling with the air gun, which I like to do. But you also seem to have mastered, as you've mastered so many other techniques, the art of doing more precise type of painting with encaustic.
Well,
I think it's almost impossible to do. And I'm wondering if you have any secrets to share. How did you improve your technique with encaustic?
well, you have to remember, I like all those napkins. So like when you look at my nest one that you used, those little birds and the butterfly that you used in the advertisement, I didn't paint those as a napkin.
No, right.
I painted, all the foliage around it. And that, like I said, you have to pretend you're using acrylic and you got to work fast. You just, your palette that you'd put acrylics on, that's your griddle, and you melt the colors, and you just have a variety of, brushes handy, and you're going to have a plan in mind, or know that you're going to experiment. And you just gotta it's alla prima. You put it down and you're done. So, yeah, I mean, when you take a class with us, you can like sit next to me and we'll practice together. So
Have you been in person for encaustic lately with Marcy?
I haven't. I think she's just been offering some private lessons that I haven't gone to, but I am going Sunday, so that'll be great. I mean, other than going out this summer to the workshop with Leah and her.
Oh, right. You did the Philadelphia workshop.
Yeah.
which
So,
was
I mean, I have
intense.
a workspace and my husband bought me all the stuff to do it. It's just such a colossal mess. And I know I'm going to blow up, the fuse box. And so, and I commandeered an old desk that my son was going to get rid of, and it's serviceable enough. I don't want to throw it out, but it's trash. So it's great for this. And so my goal this year, I'm going to do it at home.
Right. Yeah, I have all the equipment to do at home, but I live in a high rise in downtown DC. So it's not something I like to have out, because
Right.
I don't have studio space. It's the
Yeah.
dining room table.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Well, I commandeered the formal living room. So I have, so-
okay. great.
Drive
No,
up.
I'm not going with you.
You what?
No,
Amy?
I wanted to ask a question, but
Okay, great.
I don't want
Hi.
to start video. I do not want to do.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. We have a new
Okay.
question coming from someone.
Okay. My question is, from your personal experience, how long can I keep acrylic paints without using them?
I keep stuff until it disintegrates.
Okay.
I was joking with somebody, and I had this like yellow acrylic, and I suppose it was horrid. It was all separated and it was horrible. And I looked at it and it was copyright 1989. I was like, oh. So I keep stuff until it, I wouldn't count on anything. I have It says count on about 2 years once it's open.
Okay,
It lasts you longer than that. But, and oils, just, it lasts decades until it dries up or molds. So I just keep stuff until it's totally uncertain.
thank you so very much. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
I am in the country of Panama, Central America. That's where I'm.
Oh, how
Oh,
nice. Thank you
great.
so much for calling in. That's wonderful.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We have an international audience.
I'm
Yes.
Great.
I'm honored.
Good to see you, Ms. Henry. Okay, well, any final questions or comments for Amy? Amy, tell us about new projects you're working on, new painting you're doing.
Well, I've been doing a lot of mixed media, and that was like the end couple of paintings. I've just been having a lot of fun. I was thinking I kind of need to start like some bigger epic oil painting. I just haven't done it in so long. I've really been just enjoying there's a lot of times if I don't call into the drawing class or like the mixed media, I don't make time for myself to do stuff. I think I'll keep trying, experimenting. We have like plein air crazies, which is a subsection of the Sykesville Painting Club, who go out in really ridiculous weather and try to paint. We'll keep trying to paint as late into the year as we can. So I'll keep experimenting, learning with that. I bought really good socks and really good extra tough boots that they use in Alaska. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to continue to play because I think that's actually just very helpful. I'm going to keep calling into the mixed media group because I've enjoying that a lot, and I really enjoy seeing the variety of talent that's in that group. I mean, just nobody's doing anything that's remotely alike anybody else's work, yet we all share this common medium. So yeah, I guess look for more fighting with gouache and mixed media, and Amy traipsing out into the cold and attempting to paint.
Great. Well, yeah, that's great because I also love your outdoor scenes, and you really capture the light well also, and in so many mediums. It's really impressive.
Thank you.
So this has been so great, Amy, and we look forward to seeing more of your work as you go. We'll follow you. Do you have a Facebook fan page or just your?
I do.
Facebook
I have Amy Bandel Art, and I'm pretty good about posting. I'm going to be better. I'm so lazy. I don't like tagging, so I post less stuff on Instagram, but I also have Amy Bandel Art on Instagram. So both of those. Yeah. So.
Okay, so Amy Bandel Art on Facebook and on Instagram.
Mhm.
So we'll definitely be following you.
Thank you so much.
It's been such a wonderful program. Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you,
your
Amy.
work with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Amy.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
Amy.
everyone.
Thanks so much for the opportunity, Lisa. You and Marcy, I really appreciate all you've done for me. Appreciate it.
Oh, we appreciate what you do for all of us, inspiring us through your beautiful work.
Thank you. I hope everybody has a good night. And
Yes.
so
See you,
thanks so
Amy.
much.
Amy, don't forget to call me.
I won't. I got your number, and I know how